sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Connecting the Jamaican diaspora abroad and at home. Both sides of the story. Both sides of the story, highlighting the positive role of the Jamaican diaspora. Both sides of the story.
We always need to hear both sides of the story. Both sides of the story.
Time now for Both Sides of the Story on Power 106 FM. We will not take sides, but we listen to your side. Join us as we explore the issues, present the facts, speak with the experts, and as always, listen to both sides. What's your story? Tell us on Both Sides of the Story. 922-4112, 922-4113, 922-4114, and 922-4115. You can listen to Both Sides of the Story on the Gleaner's website, www.go-jamaica.com, on your mobile phones at tunein.com or nobex.com, or by dialing 832-551-5045 or 213-493-0133 in the USA. If you're in the UK, you can dial 020-3519-0145, and in Germany, 051-180-904044. Our email address is bothsides106@live.com, and you can join us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, or link us up on Skype. We look forward to receiving your instant messages on MSN or Yahoo, and your text messages on 365-3346. Remember, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we can listen twice as much as we speak. So stay with us as we listen to both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Both sides of the story.
Knowledge is power. Class is in session. Power 106.
Take heed of this small child of earth. He's great. He hath in him God most high. Children, before their fleshly birth, are lights alive in the blue sky. In our light, bitter world of wrong they come. God gives us them a while. His speech is in their stammering tongue, and his forgiveness in their smile. Their sweet light rests upon our eyes. Alas, their right to joy is plain. If they are hungry, paradise weeps, and if cold, heaven thrills with pain. The want that saps their sinless flower speaks judgment on sin's ministers. Man holds an angel in his power. Ah, deep in heaven, what thunder stirs when God seeks out these tender things, whom in the shadow where we sleep, he sends us clothed about with wings, and finds them ragged babes that weep.
Dear Mr. Jesus, I just had to write to you. Something really scared me when I saw it on the news. A story about
Let's continue to keep in our thoughts and prayers the family, friends, colleagues, neighbors of the late 9-year-old Nikita Noel, a student of Escher Primary in Lucy, Hanover. May her soul rest in peace and light perpetual shine on her. We want to continue with today's edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. And we're taking your feedback as usual. Apologies for the delay in starting our usual live streaming on Facebook as well as YouTube. Those technicalities have been resolved, and we are live not just on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9, but also live on Facebook. That's Facebook Live and YouTube. 2021 to 2030 is the International Decade of Healthy Aging, the International Decade of Ecosystem Restoration, the International Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, the Decade of Action for Road Safety, and the UN International Decade of Indigenous Languages. It's the second day of the second month of 2023, the International Year of Millets. A millet is a cereal grown in warm countries and regions with poor soils, bearing a large crop of small seeds which are chiefly used to make flour. 2023 is also the International Year of Dialogue as a guarantee of peace. Here in Jamaica, the month of February is being observed as Heart Month and Reggae Month. Restorative Justice Week activities, usually around this time of the month. World Interfaith Harmony Week, also usually at this time, even as Black History Month celebrations continue in the United States of America, Canada, the United Kingdom, and the Netherlands. It's also National Change Your Windshield Wipers Day in the USA. Christians around the world are celebrating Candlemas, the feast of the purification of the Virgin Mary and the presentation of Christ in the temple. In Mexico City, they call it Dia de la Candelaria. In Brazil, it's Festa Genosa Senhora. dos navegantes Portalegre. Bolivians call it Fiesta de la Virgen de Candelaria. In Puno, Peru, they say Virgen de la Candelaria. In Sweden, it's known as Kindelsen Dagen. And it's Groundhog Day in Canada and the USA. It's World Wetlands Day. Hoy es jueves el 2 de febrero 2023 y les saludamos en cualquier parte del mundo que nos están escuchando en este momento. Estamos muy agradecidos por el don de la vida y el privilegio de servirles en otra edición de su programa, Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia. Nunca vamos a tomar su audiencia por sentado, porque sabemos que ustedes tienen otras opciones. Y esta es la razón por la cual jamás olvidamos darle las gracias por elegir Both Sides of the Story, ambos lados de la historia, de lunes a viernes desde las 2 hasta las 5 de la tarde, aquí en Power 106 FM. La misión continúa para educar, capacitar, iluminar y estimular el espíritu empresarial. Bienvenidos. C'est jeudi le 2 février 2023 et nous vous saluons tous qui nous écoutez, que vous soyez dans le monde. Nous sommes reconnaissants du don de la vie ainsi que du privilège d'être votre service pour une nouvelle édition de votre programme Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre. Nous ne considérons pas votre fidélité comme l'un de soi parce que nous savons que vous avez l'embarras du choix. C'est pourquoi nous n'oublions jamais de vous remercier de choisir d'écouter Both Sides of the Story, le pour et le contre, du lundi au vendredi de 13h à 5h de l'après-midi sur notre antenne Power 106 FM. Nous continuons notre mission d'éduquer, d'habiliter, d'éclairer et d'encourager l'esprit d'entreprise. Bienvenue. All we're saying is it's Thursday, the 2nd of February, 2023, and we greet you well wherever in the world you are listening to us right now. We remain eternally grateful for the gift of life and the privilege to serve you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story. We don't ever take your listenership for granted because we know you have choices. And that's why we never ever forget to remember to say thanks for choosing to listen to Both Sides of the Story, Monday to Friday, 2 to 5, right here on Power 106 FM. The mission continues to educate, empower, enlighten, and encourage entrepreneurship. Welcome. Good afternoon to those of you listening to us on 106.1, 106.3, 106.5, 106.7, and 106.9. From Moran Point to Negril Point, from the Goat Islands to Galena Point, This is Power 106 FM, serving Jamaica and the diaspora. Good afternoon to those listening to us via the Power 106 FM app, which you have downloaded from the App Store or the Google Play Store, depending on the nature of your device. Downloading is free, listening is free, whenever, wherever. We acknowledge those who are on the Gleaner site, go-jamaica.com. Subscribers to onespotmedia.com also have access to both sides of the story in particular and Power 106 FM in general. Looking forward to your feedback as usual. After all, it is your program, Both Sides of the Story, here on Power 106 FM, the story of Jamaicans at home and abroad. Taking your calls on 876-922-4112 to 5. 876-922-4112 to 5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number, which means you can not only send us your text messages, your WhatsApp messages, your voice notes, but you can call us on WhatsApp as well. And that number is 876-365-3346. 876-365-3346. Quickly, just to welcome you, you know how much you mean to us. Look who's watching and listening. Carmen N. Wheatle, and that's a former teacher of mine. She taught us principles of business, typing, office procedures. I think these days they call it office administration. Ms. Wheatle, good to see you online. Happy to know you're still connected and checking in with us. All the very best to you, Ms. Wheatle, and thank you for your service to education in this country. Enna Francis, good afternoon to you as well. Let's take the break and come back.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:30.
Thank you very much for joining us as well. Audrey Smith from Southampton in England. Good to have you on board. She says, good afternoon, Dervan and listeners tuning in from Southampton. Good to have you joining us from Southampton. Welcome, as usual, Audrey Smith. Ricardo in Glengoff, St. Catherine. Good afternoon to you. Del Crooks. Well, goodness, it's been a long time, Del Crooks. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. And Ricardo says, thank God for life. Thank you, Ricardo. Asha Ash in London says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan, tuning in from London, UK. Always good to have you on board, Asha Ash. Natalie from Washington Gardens is also in touch with us. So this is another tragic loss of a child in Jamaica, and we have to keep it front and center. The latest development, the Minister of Education, Favour Williams, is condemning the murder of 9-year-old Nikita Noel, a student of Esher Primary in Lucy, Hanover. It's reported that Nikita went missing after school ended yesterday, Wednesday, the 1st of February, and her body was found in the Kew area of Lucy, Hanover, later in the evening. This brutal assault and murder of little Nikita is a sad reflection of callous barbarity that characterizes elements in our society. The words there of the Education Minister. Every child should be protected by the society as a whole. We must all be on guard to protect our children as they travel the island's roads, Williams added. She's urging anyone who may have information that could help the police in their investigations to do so. The Education Minister says the ministry has reached out through its regional office to offer counseling services to Nikita's immediate family and school community. Again, condolences to the family of little Nikita Noel, only 9 years old. And as I heard on the news, I think she was looking forward to celebrating her 10th birthday, I think next month. That's what I'm remembering from the news. Really, really very sad. We need to remind ourselves as adults of our responsibility of taking care of these children. They don't have to be yours for you to help us to protect them. So sad. Let's go over to WhatsApp and clear some of these messages. But first, to the phone lines 876 922 4112 to 5. 876 922 4112 to 5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Malcolm, you know, say people who live in the Oakland Road area telling me say to big you up.
I'm happy to hear that.
May I tell you, Mr. Malcolm, say people are listening to your story, you know, Mr. Malcolm.
Yes.
But Mr. Malcolm, you come on road with your show like an RGR road show. Nah. Dervan, you know, to the people and that to the man. Dervan, the people them want meet you, know, Dervan.
Now we need to organize a broadcast on the road, eh?
Yeah, man, because Dervan, I only for revenue on the road, you know.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, man.
I would say what I normally say. I would normally say money has long lost its value for me.
What do you mean by that, Mr. Malcolm?
From the standpoint that it seems to be easy come, easy go, and everybody's running it down, as opposed to I take the position put forward by Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs says, never set out to make money, set out to make a difference. If you make a difference, the money will come. But if all you're doing is going after the money, then you could very well go astray, like some people being reported in the news, going astray because it's all about the money.
Mr. Malcolm. Mr. Malcolm, you know that the government of Jamaica, you see?
Yes.
They owe Sajikor a whole heap of money.
Really? I missed that. Was that in the news?
You're not going to hear that in the news, Mr. Malcolm. Who you think are the government's creditors that these debts are owed to?
Oh, yeah, we know the financial institutions through government paper.
Thank you, Mr. Malcolm. Now, you know that, our institution, like all Sajikor work, let me explain something to the people then. You see a payroll around, Mr. Malcolm, like up at RGR there, the first deduction supposed to come out of your pay is your pension, you know. And it go to institutions like insurance companies, right? And after your pension come out, is your NIS must come out, you know, by law.
Right.
And it go to the NIS department, and then your NHT come out to go buy your house up at NHT. And your education tax come out to buy the tablet and take care of the education system of black people, out of many one people. And then come your income tax, you know, Mr. Malcolm.
Yes.
The income tax going to the consolidated fund.
Right.
But the other tax them that me tell you go to them various institutes. Now politicians are supposed to have no jurisdiction over NIS, NHT money, you know.
Well,
all political decisions are make from people pension, Mr. Malcolm. And when your pension go to a place like Sajikor, government go borrow it from Sajikor through treasury bills, bring it on the street, do him have to do with it and still come back, tax the people in a GCT. to pay back the interest to Sagicor. And the whole of the money does go round, so. And they might use your money and them not give about the right benefit when you're all Mr. Malcolm.
Yeah, they're as they say on the street, they're rinsing it.
Hallelujah!
Mm-hmm.
Professor,
Yes, sir.
you touch a nerve in me. What you say they're doing to me, Professor?
They're rinsing it.
Like how you rinse clothes and hang it up on a
Yes,
line.
man. So they're multiplying.
And then now them living upscale. You know where most of our retired prime minister live.
Yeah. Yes,
They live in Middlesbrough.
they're almost. They're pretty much neighbors. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And then now when you pass up all of them yards and the Governor General's retired home, you see a police station at the gate. They have gardeners gardening their gardens. Their medical, their room is booked at either some Florida hospital or up at 23rd wing. Why, and them have all the prime land that they can go in the bank and borrow more money from and just rinse on the money. So why them deal with poor people, some come? And it's we is the workhorse of the kingdom.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say, as they say on the street, I saw the thing said, but there is cultures have been established for centuries or decades, however you look at it, however you break it down. And there is always what you call the ruling class.
Ruling class?
Yes.
Tell me about them and where they live.
The ruling class. Now, these are people who have benefited from quality education, people who tend to vie for the reins of power and hold on to those reins. And they are traditionally treated in a particular way. I mean, you wouldn't have... The only place I've seen a prime minister driving himself was in Bermuda. In Bermuda, we were covering a jerk festival, Jamaican jerk festival in Bermuda, and saw this vehicle driving on the field, and this man came out and closed the door and just walked and greeted everybody. And I was wondering, who's this person? And somebody said, that's the premier. That's the premier of Bermuda. So there's no security detail, no bodyguard, no outriders. Just on the face of it, you would think a simple man. So there's a difference in some countries, but in other countries, certain positions are revered, and therefore people are treated in the highest esteem, and there's a feeling that having that kind of a position, whether as prime minister or governor general, it's like having a lot of load, and therefore your remuneration should match the position.
Mr. Malcolm.
Yes.
I tell you two things about the governor general and lock down the phone.
Yes.
The heaviest thing the governor general lift up every day in the world of work is in pen. The governor general, several times I catch the governor general making mistake with the laws them that pass through him. You know.
Really?
Yes. One of the state of emergency aqua passed through him and it bounced on the ground. Nobody chastised the governor general about that. You know.
Well, you didn't call us about that either.
No, because...
Go ahead.
Yeah, he not read it. And you know another thing, you see when they were bringing in the cash pot Supreme Ventures thing.
Although technically speaking, they don't necessarily read it. You know, the Governor General gives his assent. I mean, he might very well read it, but there's a process, and somebody would have already checked it or should have already checked the document to make sure everything is in order. So all he then has to do is to give his assent, put his stamp, his imprimatur on it.
So he's not using brain and say, wait, them thing I can't work for the Jamaican people, you know. He just rubber stamp with the Prime Minister's and his loyal opposition says.
Yeah, well, it's just like the throne speech. The throne speech, pretty much put together by the governing party and presented in the form of a speech, and the prime minister delivers the speech.
Oh, so it's a rubber stamping. So him now, he's entitled to a pension till him dead. Based on his salary, indexed to inflation for doing that. And if him dead before him wife dead, beg your pardon, him wife get it till she dead. Whereas my 80-year-old mother now, when her husband dead, she not get no pension for him. And her pension from the NIS can pay a light bill. And so them go we around here and treat Governor General and their first ladies like that.
Yeah, because
culture.
Yes, they're held in high esteem, and they would have served the country at the highest level.
Highest level.
Mm-hmm.
When the cash pot bill was being passed by Portia Simpson Miller, and the pressure Miss Miller said we want it moved to 6 times a day. Because they might dig out all of the saving pan them from Negril Pine to Moran Pine. You know, the Governor General, as a Seventh-day Adventist, pastor did, and take leave of absence, you know, and them appoint another Governor General to sign the bill, and then him come back, and the whole of them are eat out of the cash pot money they were done.
Really, where were we when all of that was happening? How did we miss that? Hello? Hello? Oh, we lost him. Let's move on. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Live on your smart devices all over the world. And taking your calls on 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. Let's go to, James in East London has sent us the usual collection of stories. Thank you, James, and all the very best. This one says, good afternoon, Dervan. Tears to my eyes hearing that song. Could you take the time to encourage drivers to sign their traffic tickets? The police are very encouraged and excited giving tickets which help. One moment, please. We'll come back to this message.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
2:45.
Your health is key to your wealth. Suffering from muscle, joint, neck, back, and other pain? The Rehabilitation Institute of the Caribbean, in association with Winchester MRI, Immune Active Denk, and Almighty Studios present Rehabilitation Now, a 30-minute feature on physical medicine and rehabilitation for persons overcoming pain or dysfunction from injury or disease that affects muscles, tendons, nerves, and joints. Rehabilitation Now with rehabilitation physician Dr. Paula Dawson and host Alicia Taylor airs every Friday at 3:30 p.m. during Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106. Free your body from aches and pain with Rehabilitation Now, right here on Power 106 FM.
Let's return to the message. It says, good afternoon, Dervan. Tears to my eyes hearing that song. Could you take the time to encourage drivers to sign their traffic tickets? The police are very encouraged and excited giving tickets which help in making quota and promotions by getting your information from the ticket they give. They easily write another ticket when you already gone. Worse, if you have been disrespectful to them. A lot of these taxi operators do get false tickets because they don't sign. Can't defend it in court because you never usually sign. So Xavier is recommending that drivers and encouraging drivers to sign their traffic tickets. Let's go to the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Hello, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon, Mr. Combs.
Yeah, well, never right, you know, when you cash part thing, I know when you talk about increase to more, you know, I believe for the first beginning, you go and you will take leave and somebody sign the paper, I told him I talk. Me have idea about it, me about it, what is idea? True. I should never talk.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Coombs.
Let me some more again.
All right. Go ahead.
When Mr. Shear by the lady by the house, so you have 62 or 63.
Which house?
By 60, I'm going to send me a Bradgate. So you have 62 or 63. It's the same breed of Baloo. The lady who buy the place, then Mr. Shear, is his father-in-law, his old grandfather, playing the bamboo and sensible. Her father-in-law come from India and come from India and come out of the state. He might have India near Muncie. And after the contract up down, they go send me and find two sisters. And they told them married to two sisters and produce children over there. And I said, come in Badalo and Muncie over there. Anyway, in closing, I never go too deep, but you see a child who died down there, you go hear something more, you know, people are shocked to know who kill the baby. People are shocked. Me hear something about my radio station, me not talk. But me go to prison, me don't want nobody show the station, but it will come out soon and very soon too.
All right. Thank you for the call. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. This message says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Happy first Thursday of a new month to you and the Power 106 family, listening and enjoying the program. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. And then he sends us a rejoinder. He says, what is happening to the minds of our people? How could a grown man rape and murder a 9-year-old child? Lord have mercy on Jamaica, land we love. Clarky Bless in Hunstown, St. Mary. Let's go to the phone lines once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
You know, there was a time in this country, if a woman, young or old, was traveling in a lonely place or some remote area, and she see a group of young men coming, or male in general, she would feel good because she know that she would be protected. Nowadays, whether you're young or you're old, I mean, we're talking about female now. If you find yourself in a lonesome place or desolate place and you see a group of men, especially a group of young men coming, you better dig a hole and hide or try to hide as best as possible. Because anyhow, you and them come in contact. Either you are going to be raped, killed, or both. I don't know who are producing these, well, I don't even know, demons, because I said, dumb animal don't behave like we. You would never find an animal in the wild abusing their female or killing their female unless it's for heat, I mean for food. And it would have to be another it wouldn't be the same species. So you would find a lion killing a lamb or a sheep or other, but you wouldn't find a lion killing another female lion. But that is what we so-called human or Homo sapiens, as they say we are called, does. Look at the incident where police who are supposed to serve and protect. Look at that incident that
involving in the robbery and rape of a motorist, a female.
No, these are persons who are put out here to serve and protect. You know, one day, I was downtown and I was watching a young lady. And it's like every young man or male that pass her, because I do, man different from male. Mm-hmm. And everybody was just either who not groping, but it's like everybody I look at and I touch up and I say something.
Yes.
And I saw a policeman and I said, well, she should feel safe now. She should go and complain. I said, boy, she's been harassed. Huh. Right away, the policeman take out phone and I look number. I mean, I say, where are we? What? Yeah. When you go elsewhere, you don't see this kind of thing.
It's like I heard on the news.
I don't see this kind of incident happening elsewhere. No matter how the woman wants just skimpy.
Yes.
You don't see this kind of thing taking place. Women are free to move about with ease without anybody have to be down on them.
Yeah.
What's wrong with Jamaican male? Eh?
Yeah, permanently on heat.
And that is why I am unrepentant when it comes to capital punishment, because nobody can convince me, and no power cannot convince me that a demon who look upon a little baby like that now, rape her and kill her, and he will tell me say that must go in a jail, go sit down, and oh, we must put him up there and go, what? For what? You tell me now, for what purpose? Eh? If you can look upon a little child and commit such a hack, you shouldn't touch that child. You should be protecting her. Eh? And you rape her and turn around and kill her, and you supposed to have your life, not even if your mother not supposed to live. You hear me say? Him not supposed to exist now, dear. We cannot continue to allow this, and then we have these so-called human rights accountable. They're pro-life. And that's why they don't believe in, and we must abolish capital punishment.
No,
not even the Bible don't condone them thing there. Because I'm sure in the Bible it says, when you hurt a child, or those who go around and hurt children, you better than take a lodestone and tie around the neck and throw themselves in the deepest part of the ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Eh? Where are the church? I don't hear the church. I'm coming out and saying anything about all incidents like this. The church should be out there like how them out there protesting about homosexuality or if two men want to marry two. Them should be out there protesting these things. And make the people them know that we don't condone. They're not supposed to condone them kind of heinous crime that is being committed against innocent people, man. I mean innocent children. I tell you, this country is worse than the Wild Wild West. This is a totally lawless place. Because when police who are supposed to be protecting people's life, and it's only in country where we have totalitarian government, where military are controlled by the totalitarian and the police and control, that they have this power that they can grow on. In a country that's supposed to be a democratic country, you can't go on and do something like that. What could they be thinking? That they could get away with something like this? Or maybe because they know they can always get them fancy lawyer and go before the court. And then they're going to either delay the whole thing and eventually down the road say, no, come out of it, and them gone back out the street free.
Well, the sad thing is, we have been this place, we've been here before, quite a number of times. And it keeps happening and happening and happening again.
And that's why I believe in capital punishment. And that's why I say I'm sad of what is taking place, but glad that I don't have my two grandkids, them don't born in Jamaica, they don't live out here. Because I talk, say, if somebody should go and commit such a hack against my little them, me no, I am the one who's going to charge for murder. Because there's no, I would spend the last breath and go, and I don't care what they want to do with me after, but that person, whoever that, I don't go and make sure they go and they get the DNA evidence. That is no mistaken. That is this person. They're not supposed to live to commit another hack like that. The world will need to be spared of people, of animals like those, not animals, demons like those. Because them they're demon. Them there's demon. Are them possessed with demon spirit? But whatever, but in either way, they're not supposed to be among normal people, sir. We don't have institutions we can go and lock them up for the rest of them life, and that don't happen in Jamaica. Because when they go before the court, then get a little full sentence that you wonder sometimes if they're not being given a slap on the wrist. And maybe that is one of the reasons why people don't care anymore. Because they were told that all you have to do when you commit a crime, just go before the judge and plead guilty, and you can't get time to go and go spend with your family. That those kind of discussion come from the power that be. So we're not really serious about tackling crime. Not serious at all. When I hear some of the incident where I say every day, look at what is taking place in Jamaica, the level of crime. And I hear everywhere else in the world, in America, you even have what is called entrapment. If the authority know that you're inclined to commit certain crime, they will come and literally get you to solicit item or whatever, and then you commit yourself and you are charged.
Yeah,
You put
that's
people,
that's what happened to a famous Jamaican, at least one.
and I mean, that's a common thing in America. Once them know you're involved in certain type of crime, them going to find a way to catch you. Out here, we don't even use undercover police, and we hear that you hear, oh, the country too small. What kind of rubbish is that? And policemen usually grow and do a lot of undercover work and catch criminals. But maybe the politicians, them, are the powers that be, don't want that to happen because they don't want to get rid of some of these criminals. I can't say anything else.
Really?
But then if I was told that I don't know how true it is, but I remember.
Well, don't repeat it if you don't know how true it is.
No, what I'm saying, I don't hear of many incidents where there's much undercover work taking place. And whenever that argument is bridged, I mean, it's part of that. Why we don't use more undercover work? Because
undercover work has to be kept undercover for it to be undercover.
Exactly. But the point is, when we look at the crime that is taking place, and we always hear whenever there's they're going after gang. How are you going after gang if you don't have people infiltrating the gang? You cannot rely on just having people come and say, me see, or give evidence. And we're not utilizing scientific and evidence like what they do in first world country.
Well, I gather they have a first world lab where all that kind of work is being done.
Do they have the personnel? Because we might have the lab, but we have to have the personnel.
Well, we would have to. One moment, please.
Coast to Coast Concrete, the high-quality concrete for fencing, roofing, foundation, and road surfacing. Call 876-754-7472. The time by Coast to Coast Concrete is
3 o'clock.
Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call this and every Wednesday evening at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness. Your one-stop place to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876-922-41125 or by sending a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Brought to you by Benson Pharmacy and Wellington Dental. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction. This and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Only on Power 106 FM.
I just had to write to you. Something really scared me when I saw it on the news. A story about a little girl beaten black and blue. Jesus, thought I'd take this right to you.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding. Please continue.
Oh, after the year, the police was report that, there's certain activity taking place in a particular area, and we are instructing the citizen to avoid that area. You hear a robbery take place at a particular point, and instead of putting somebody there to apprehend whoever is perpetrating the crime, you're going to tell people, oh, be careful of that spot because criminal activity is taking place. Now, what kind of policing is that? Huh?
No, that doesn't make sense, because why do you have the police then?
That is not a regular question. I mean, argument here out there, and then I've been told that there was a former, I think, commissioner who said that police, we used to dress up in all kind of rugged things and go out and dress up like rude boy, and then take on any kind of disguise out there in order to infiltrate or pick up. Say that it wasn't setting a good image for the police force.
Well, they have done some infiltration in a couple of the gangs, which has been in the news.
Recently?
I mean, within the last 5 years.
Well,
time flies, but it's within the last 5 years.
I don't, well, as I said, I don't remember, because most of the top criminal gangs in Jamaica, we don't hear of any major, other than when man like Zeke, well, he committed himself, and Ram, well, next one day up in the hill, the name, and a couple of those are the ones who were sent to prison. But we don't hear of any other major um, personnel involved being caught. Even if they carry them before the court, they just walk out because there is never enough evidence.
Yeah, but
I
we
hear the
still have
Chief
to.
Justice complaining about that, said they are not being given enough evidence to prosecute these persons. So why take the case before the court in the first place? If
Well,
you don't
it's
have the
supposed to
evidence?
be tested, for want of a better term,
Before
before you take it to the next level. So a greater level of scrutiny needs to be brought to bear on those at those levels.
you know, I said before, and I said that I'm kind of glad that I'm in the not glad of what is taking, but I'm in the departure lounge, as they say. So I will what is taking place in my country for any long foreseeable future. Because I mean, if I don't see we're really serious about.
You don't want to hang around longer to see what happens next?
No, but when you think that things can't get any worse, it get worse. Huh?
Yes.
I said to some people, if I was 10 years younger, I would migrate now. Yeah, I would migrate. And right now, my people them across me and say, why don't come out and why don't come and stop stress out yourself in Jamaica? Because you talking that not helping, and you're only out there because you're the kind of person who have been talking for all these years. You're concerned about your country, but it's not making a difference. So might as well just leave or go on out here. But then again, I'm not the kind of person who is foreign-minded.
Well,
at this year, and at my age now, I don't want to really go and be almost like a burden in America, because you go over there now, you if you don't have social security thing there, you have to go have money up front because you need health insurance to survive in America, especially when you reach a certain age, to take your medical bills, because that's one thing that will bankrupt anybody, medical bills in America. But if I was like say 10 years younger, I could go over there and work and accumulate some enough that you could have social, put your thing there in place. I would for the first time in maybe 20 or more years, it reached a stage now where it's just frustrating. Crime is everywhere, but at least when you see how quickly, look at what happened in England recently with this man who was head of the Conservative Party. Huh? He had to they fire him literally for tax because of tax fraud, right? We inherit the same Westminster system, and no matter how egregious our politician, our public servant, no matter the crime they commit, they behave like say them is royalty. Who dare anybody want to remove them from their position of power, or their entitled position?
Well,
they don't have nothing named sensibility or respect or dignity or pride. The other saying in Jamaica, junk on out them pride. Eat out them.
Not all of them, as we know in anything.
Not all,
as Tony Lang used to say, nothing is 100%.
Well, I wonder what Mr. Lang would have said. Boy, I really wonder.
No,
anyway, have a good afternoon, sir.
Thanks for the call. Take care. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Let's go to the WhatsApp line, same as the text line, 876-365-3346. Let's go to Florida. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. How are you doing? But I listen to you and Neville there, and I can tell you this. I enjoy every time that man call. I always make some good point.
Happy to know you enjoy it.
Point to you where he said the Governor General take enough sin when it come on to the cash pot thing. Somebody signed it. Now you ask him where you was. Question I ask you where you was at that time. Was in Bermuda this earlier?
No.
You was in Jamaica?
I don't know. I could very well have been out of the country.
They say don't know where you was, so either overseas or in Jamaica, you must know where you was.
No, I was asking where was I when that was happening. So, yeah.
I'm probably sleeping.
Yeah, I deserve some rest as well, don't you think?
Okay. All right. In relation, before I go to my point, in relation to that, little child or young girl that killed somebody in the country there, I think the police said, I think on the news today, they said they have a suspect and they should question him in the presence of the attorney this evening. So let's see it work out.
Yeah.
Well, if he's guilty and you're aware of that, probably 50 years behind bar, and decide to do that, then he decide to bear the consequence. I don't know what's running in his head why he do something like that.
That's why we insist and we keep repeating, man must be protected by himself, from himself. Man must be protected from himself. Left to himself, man is perhaps the most destructive creature on the face of the planet. Yeah.
Okay, so these police officers here, I for them been a traffic incident lead and end up rape related. Now, when you give a man a job as a police officer, his job is to protect the public, not to destroy the public. Members of the public should say. And I hear many times them come out with law against a criminal, which I don't have a problem with it. But I never hear them have some special law for police officer when them breach the law. Why is it like that?
There's one law for everybody, same law.
No, but in some country, when you as a police officer do something like what them do, them come down hard upon you, because them know that you know better.
I don't know. It's the same law. It's one law. I don't know of a special law for police and another one for soldiers and another one for civilians.
No, what I usually do then, like, all right, say you rob somebody and you didn't put that one 10 or 15 years, the officer wouldn't put that 25 years because he know better.
I don't know of anything being done in that particular. If you have heard a judge say that he or she has acted in a particular way because the person was police or is a policeman and therefore he should know better.
In Jamaica, I don't know if they do that, but over here, that's what they come hard on them sometimes.
Well, judges are in privileged positions and they are supposed to be quite cerebral and able to reason and are measured and are not swayed by public opinion and public protests.
No, what they would make you know of the officer. You know better. The ordinary man sometimes get carried away by friends or whatever. But you, the officer, who train and know better, should know better than what you do. That's why they come down hard on you. And the best thing I ever see in Jamaica in terms of the police, them, and know many people that will agree with me on this one, is when them have Mr. Williams there running the come. I know policeman who used to be a certain way. And when that man there, you wonder if these police officers are choir master in the police force, be themselves on the right track.
Well, that if there is such a scenario, then that individual should never have been admitted to the police service in the first place. That was an error.
No, it's not an error. If you have nobody to keep in check, Mr. Malcolm, people do it. Just like a man on the road at speed. If him see the police, don't him slow down? Hello?
No, I'm saying to you, anybody who is fearing indicum should not be in the police force. They made a mistake. They must realize, if that is how they feel, they must realize that they made a mistake. They perhaps need to be elsewhere.
No, it's not a mistake.
Law-abiding citizens, irrespective of their profession, law-abiding citizens don't fear the law or shouldn't be fearing the law. Law-abiding citizens are just that, law-abiding citizens. So you do your best to carry out your lawful duties to the best of your
I
ability.
understand what you're saying, but we also must bear in mind that we have some of those officers not doing what the law said.
Well, that is why we have police commissioners. That's why we have police civilian oversight organization. That is why we have internal investigations, etc. That's etc. etc.
I mean, time I hear people call a talk show and say, get rid of Hindi come, we don't need no Hindi come, that's why police can do work. And I don't know why they will say that when we already know we have some bad egg in
Yeah,
the
but
police.
you see, you can't run with every bar talk that you hear. And bar talk is bar talk. You know what I mean? People, mouth, as my late mother would say, mouth make for say anything. Turn crossway, it make for say anything.
And I see that man there. I don't know about other people, but to me, that man there, I see that man was giving us Jamaican people a professional police force.
And that has changed now?
Well, if you notice the behavior of some of them right now, we almost have to go back where we were before him come. This new man there, I couldn't even last year scratch him throat.
That means you're not paying attention. He scratched his throat on TV either last night or night before. One moment, please.
Yeah, but yeah.
Thanks a lot for staying with us here on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Thanks for calling. Thanks for holding. Please continue. You were saying?
Yeah, I remember when some issue where them say him have the power to arrest police officer. He's only to investigate.
You're referring to Terence Williams, formerly of Indicom.
Yeah. Yeah, and when they go to England and the ruling come back say him can't do it because the country or the law set up. And I remember clearly I hear the Justice Minister say him not give no power to arrest police officer. But if the Justice Minister had think way down the line, he would have noticed that when him set up that law to keep them in check, he would have protect his grandchildren, children, even when they retire and gone. So I don't know why I would make that ruling.
What eventually came of that ruling?
Him say now giving the come no power to arrest some police officers, so all them can do is investigate.
Oh.
And then before that come into play, when he used to have them arrested, he used to have, remember now, some years ago some investigation come out that, just like how them say, our citizen kill more of our citizen more than anywhere else. You see, so they should say the police force in Jamaica kill their citizen more than any other police force. And that's why they come into play. But who say what set it up never set up right?
What needs to be done now to make it right or to set it right?
If you give the man the power to arrest them when they misbehave themselves, they would keep themselves in check.
Which man?
All right. The Justice Minister is a man who can make that ruling and him say not doing it. So if him give Indicom people the power to keep the officer them in check when they misbehave themselves, you don't see a difference.
Justice Minister can't make
PPP do that thing, you know, but sometimes by if you are ruling to come into place, people are retired and gone about their business. I remember when Mr. Williams was there, if you commit a breach within 3 months, he might be in custody or before the court. Am I right or am I wrong?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I was saying, when Mr. Williams used to run it, I remember when a police officer breached the law, within 3 months, him have him before the court, I have him in custody. There are some people, it nearly 4 or 5 years, and sometimes people retire and go about them business.
A bit of exaggeration there, but we get the point you're making.
It's a reality check.
No, man, exaggeration.
So what about those 4 officers with the raping and lady? What is the outcome of that thing right now?
They're still in custody.
Okay. So, all right, we see how it work out, boss.
We'll be watching and listening.
Okay.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. You're listening to Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. I'm Dervan Malcolm, and time for more of your calls, 876-922-4112-5. The text line, same as the WhatsApp number, 876-365-3346. Spider says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. You know, within another 20 years' time from now, mankind will come face to face with the truth about mankind and religion, and the full understanding of who we are calling God and praying to are some powerful beings from another planet. And when that day comes, we will get closer to world peace and happiness. Look at what happened to that little girl. You ever heard of any case where someone going to commit a murder and they were struck down dead before they commit the actual thing? No. Let's continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Hello, good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Hello, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon.
How are you doing, sir?
I'm giving thanks for life, and you?
Yeah, man, I'm great. Man, it's always a pleasure to hear from you, sir. I spoke to you some time ago about the state of the roads over in St. Mary.
Yes.
This is councillor candidate Byfield. I want to thank the NWA for doing some work on the back road car piece that it's I don't know how long that will last for because it was poorly done, but nonetheless a little work was done on it, and I want to give thanks for that. There is still a lot of work to be done in the division, and I am not seeing any representation from the councillor or the MP, and I saw in the paper where they're planning to postpone the local elections again, leaving the people without proper representation in these divisions. So what's your take on that, sir?
Well, for those who feel strongly about it, the floor is open for you to agitate and advocate for that to happen.
Definitely, because the elections were supposed to be called from November in 2020, and it was postponed because of COVID, even though the general elections were called in the heights of COVID-19, right? And there are a few divisions, even in Western St. Mary, where the council for the Retreat division is now the MP over in St. Anne's, or in Brownstone. That's Leighton one-time seat. So there is a lack of representation in these areas, and our constituency of Western St. Mary's is crying out for proper representation from the council and from MP. It's a sad situation to see the bushes taking over the roads. It's unsafe for even the kids coming from school. There is a school around by Jackson, and that school might have to be closed due to the state of the road and the condition to get to that school. And that's the only school that service the Barnegate, Mile Gully areas in a sense, and Preston.
And it's sad, Mr. Malcolm, to see the state. It's like we don't care about education or how kids in the rural side of the country, have access to education.
This is why politicians have no time to be engaged in idle chatter and idle talk on platforms and fora here and there and everywhere. What is important to you at the national level might not be important to you at the local level. And it has to be a case where, exactly, but it has to be a situation where those who, whether you're a councillor candidate or councillor for a division, you are supposed to hold at least a couple of town hall meetings within the division. Same thing for the constituency. And the people, whether you wear orange or green, you agree on what, or try to seek to agree on what are the priorities of the division or the constituency. Once you agree on that, then you would have helped to set the priority or priorities for your division or for your constituency. But if
I agree. I think one of the issues, Mr. Malcolm, sorry to cut it, is that a lot of these councillors, they don't understand that they have a huge responsibility in the political process, because the MP is to go to Parliament and make legislation on our behalf, right? But the councillors, they are supposed to be on the ground lobbying, right, for everything that is local and required. And I agree with you. We need a lot of town hall meetings and community meetings to sensitize citizens and to have people committee where we hear from the people of what is important and what needs to be done, the most important things that need to be done in the community. I've never seen that in my community. I've never seen that in my division. And those are lacking, because political education today is needed more than ever. The last election, we had the lowest turnout of voters in this country, and it's going to get even worse, because persons are slowly moving away from the political process because they feel as if it is not benefiting them. And as a politician, I can't disagree with them, because the leaders that we have today, they're not setting any great examples, are putting in institutions that will benefit the people, or majority of the people, that is. So I agree with you. There are a lot more that can be done and need to be done to change the scope.
Well, only the people can fix it, as we know.
Only the people.
And leadership is important. And there is only one way to lead, and that is by example.
And we need leaders with vision, because with vision the people perish. Without vision the people perish. Mr. Malcolm, we need visionary leaders that will be able to implement things that will benefit the generations to come.
Well, we don't even have to reinvent the wheel on that, because we've been singing the national anthem for quite some time now. Give us vision lest we perish.
Give us vision lest we perish. Mm-hmm. It's always great talking to you, Mr. Malcolm.
Same here.
Enjoy the rest of your day, sir.
You too. Take care. Happy to know some work was done, although, as you said, not the best, but it will. Well, let's see. All right. Thanks for the call.
All right, sir, Malcolm. Great.
Good. Take care. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com, live on your smart devices all over the world. Let's go to this text message, 876-365-3346. It says here, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Please ask the Island Traffic Authority how many driver's licenses have been reported lost or stolen last year. You know, we got this data last year. We did a series of road safety broadcasts, and we actually got this information. We got this information But now that that year has ended, we perhaps need to get an update on what those numbers are, what those statistics are telling us. So Michael Lake is asking how many driver's licenses have been reported lost or stolen last year. If your wallet, handbag got stolen with your money, driver's license, TRN, and bank card, you are left without money. If this happens out of parish, you would need to drive back home, also to visit the police station, bank, photo studio, JP, and tax office. All those places to visit while out of pocket, and your car is available to drive, but your license is not in your possession, stolen. Scenario 2, you got a message that your child got hit by a car and taken to the hospital, or your wife took in to have a baby. In a rush, you grab a few of their personal items and depart for the hospital, forgetting to take your driver's license. I think these are valid reasons why a driver could be allowed to drive without the license in their possession at all times. From Michael in St. Anne's Bay. Well, the question is whether in formulating the particular section of the Road Traffic Act with respect to having in one's possession one's driver's license, if there are provisions, if there are subsections to that act, and as I said yesterday, I'm still trying to go through the document, but it's, when you have a lot of irons in the fire, yeah, still trying to go through, but it depends on what is in the act. What is in the act will give you an idea of what is likely to happen. One moment, please. Indeed, it is Thursday afternoon, just after 3:30, and you know what that means, right? Time for your legal corner with U.S. immigration attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. It's an opportunity for you to have your U.S. immigration questions answered. Any question at all pertinent to U.S. immigration, you are at the right place at the right time. The numbers to call, 876-922-4112-5. 876-922-4112-5. The text line is the same as the WhatsApp number. It's 876-279-8598. 876-279-8598. And in just a moment, well, let's go ahead now and say hello, good afternoon, and welcome to Attorney at Law Dahlia Walker Huntington. Good afternoon to you. How are you? I am fine, thanks. Always a pleasure to connect with you in this way in service to Jamaicans at home and abroad. Thank you so much for your service. All right, so I see Steve in Toronto, Canada. Well, I don't think Steve. Remember, this is U.S. immigration, Steve. I don't know. Do you want to? Is it pertinent to U.S. immigration? I guess we could take your call and find out. But this is U.S. immigration that Delia Walker Huntington is dealing with. Well, let's hear what Steve is saying. Good afternoon, Steve.
Good afternoon, Dervan. I was saying that it's not pertinent to. I just happened to call at this exact same time that you were going on.
Oh.
So it's not pertinent. So I'll jump off and allow others who may have something relevant to this section.
No problem.
Calling about the fundraiser we're having.
No problem.
So
Feel free to call us back in half an hour or so, if you're able to. All right. Take care. Bye bye. Let's go to another call. 876-922-4112-5. This is Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Go ahead for Miss Delia, please.
A birth certificate as an amendment. Would that be any problem to the filing? Like take for instance. But down the bottom is amendment that says Joan, the full name.
Miss Delia?
Never, I didn't hear all of that. The mother's name was what?
Like the mother name is Joan, like is Joan Melissa Roberts.
Okay.
And then the amendment down the bottom would be like Melissa Roberts. I mean the full name.
Okay, so this was on a child's birth certificate has the mother's name as Joan Melito, but then it was amended later to say just Melito.
No, the first one was just like Melita Richards, but the amendment would be the first name, the middle name, and the surname.
Okay, so is the child now filing for the mother or the mother filing for the child?
The mother filing for the child.
Okay, so what does the mother's documents reflect?
Like they're saying it's invalid.
No, but does the mother's documents have her full name, have the Joan Melito?
Yes, at the amendment, down the bottom. It says amendment, and down the bottom it has the first name, the middle name, and the
last name.
Yes.
So whose birth certificate was amended, the mother's or the child's?
The child.
Okay. So does the mother's records match up to the Joan Melito?
Yes.
Okay. So if the mother's records match up to what was amended on the child's birth certificate, it shouldn't be a problem. Without knowing the full specifics, because there's a lot more things we have to know. But if you have an amendment on a birth certificate, we see it all the time, particularly with adding a person's name.
Right.
Sometimes the child isn't named at birth until later, and then you amend it. So if there's an amendment, and it matches the mother's documents now, how long after the birth was the amendment done?
Maybe about 10, 15 years after.
And how old is the child now?
Like 40 something.
Okay, so I don't see why that should be a problem. There's another document in Jamaica we call an identity affidavit that a justice of the peace can do to say Melita and Joan Melita are the same person. But without knowing the specifics, I can just say generally that's how we handle situation. As the amendment matches the parents' documentation,
it shouldn't be a problem.
Right. But without knowing the specifics, I can't tell you Well, I have to see the document and all of that to give you the exact advice.
It's just the birth certificate is the problem, but they send it back and say it's not valid. So, so the petition.
So then I suggest that you take it to see an attorney. I suggest you take it to see an attorney.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, ma'am. So Dervan, this question is kind of timely because I noticed in the Gleaner, I think it was this week or last week, that the RGD is once again upgrading the birth certificates, the paper on which the birth certificates in Jamaica are printed, to make it more fraud preventative. If you recall, maybe about 15, 20 years ago now, I don't remember when, we went from those handwritten birth certificates to the digitally generated birth certificates, the computer generated birth certificates at RGD.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, you remember. Come a certain date now. So people like you and me have the original handwritten ones.
Yes. In fact, I've strangely enough, and I've done quite a few OBs at the Registrar General's department, but I've never gotten any of the new birth certificate. I'm still using the old one, the handwritten one. That's what I still have. Yes.
Well, the U.S. government, if you're migrating, they're not taking the even at the embassy, they're not taking the handwritten ones. So may I make a little suggestion that you just apply for the digital ones. When the new ones come out, apply for the digital and just keep it. Just keep it in case you need to do any business with the U.S. Governmental entity. Because, and the reason comes back to this, because unfortunately we have had so much fraud in the birth registration area in Jamaica. Had a lot of fraud with the handwritten birth certificates. Some people, when they went to get the digital ones, realized that they were never registered with RGD, that the actual birth certificates they had were fraudulent to begin with. And so there's been a lot of weeding out over the last couple of decades. Now, once again, RGD is moving to yet another type of paper that is supposed to be more tamper-proof. So because of situations just like what this caller just came in with, so people go back and try to change information to match it up to allow them to be able to migrate. But it's also, on the other hand, not uncommon for persons, say a pet name, you're only known by the middle name. Your first name is not really Dervan. Legally, your first name might be Peter.
Yes.
Peter Dervan Malcolm. And so you have a child and they put Dervan Malcolm on the person who's giving the info, say your name is Dervan, when your name is actually Peter Dervan Malcolm. So then you have to go back and amend the child's birth certificate later to reflect the legal name of the parent. So this is something we see quite often, but it can also delay, as it sounds like is happening with this petition, it can delay and put a halt to a filing. So they need to act on it right away.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Delia. Let's take some more calls. 876-922-4112-5. This is your legal corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington. Any U.S. immigration questions you have, this is the time, this is the place. And the numbers, once again, 876-922-4112-5. Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Hello?
Hello?
Good afternoon. Thanks for calling. Go ahead. Delia Walker Huntington is listening.
Yeah, Ms. Huntington, a quick question about deportation. If a person was deported with the aggravated felony in the immigration court, do they have a chance to go back to the country, United States?
Slim to none. Slim to none. Reason being that aggravated felony removals are permanent bars to coming back. Permit to come back as a permanent resident. Now, depending on what it is, you could possibly explore a non-immigrant waiver, but it's a very high bar to overcome because on the face of it, an aggravated felony, once you're removed, it's a permanent bar.
Right. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is your legal corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington. Here's another caller. Go ahead, caller.
Yes. Good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm.
Good afternoon. Please go ahead.
Good
Miss Delia is
afternoon.
listening to you.
Yes,
Go ahead.
Delia Walker. Good afternoon. Yes, I want to ask you, how can a child who is being filed for by his father, how can the filing be removed?
The petitioner would have to be the one to withdraw the petition.
Okay, but the father died in the States, and the son is still in Jamaica. So I want to know if when he going for a visa for a farm work or something like that, he can get through.
How old is the son?
The son is 35.
Okay, and when did the father die?
He died, I think, last year.
Okay, so there is a process called a humanitarian reinstatement. If your petitioner dies, you notify the last place that you were communicated with. If it's the NVC or USCIS, you notify them, and then you ask for humanitarian reinstatement.
Okay.
Meaning that the petition can be reinstated if they want to exercise that discretion, and the son in this case has a substitute financial sponsor, somebody who's related to him.
Yes.
Okay, so it can be explored if he wants to try to continue.
Yeah.
If in fact he doesn't want to continue and his father has died, when he goes to the embassy to apply for a non-immigrant visa, then he can take the proof of the death to the interview.
Okay, miss. Okay, because yes, we don't want to know he go for a visa for farm work and don't get through. Okay.
Yeah, well, it still can't guarantee that he's going to get through.
Yeah.
But if the issue comes up that he's on filing and he's not pursuing trying to reinstate the file on a humanitarian basis, the file meaning the green card, then he can take the death certificate to his farm work visa interview and say, I don't have a pending petition.
Okay, all right. Good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks for calling. We need to take a break. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
3:45. You're listening to Your Legal Corner, your source of information on all matters regarding U.S. immigration. You can call in with your questions and concerns on 876-922-41125. You can send a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Now, back to Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story on Power 106 FM.
You're listening to Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Delia Walker Huntington here on both sides of the story, Power 106 FM. And here is a message. Let's see. Someone's green card is expired while in Jamaica about 4 years ago. How can she renew it? What's the process moving forward?
The person is no longer a permanent resident because once you've stayed out of the United States for a year or more as a green card holder, they deem you to have abandoned the residency, and you'd have to file to go back as a returning resident and prove that your time outside of the U.S. was not intentional and against your wishes. Sometimes people go to Jamaica as green card holders, they get sick or a family member die and they get caught up in, wrapping up their affairs and so forth, and they stayed out for a year or more. But that person with the expired green card will not be allowed to board the plane. Normally, you would need a transportation letter to say, I'm returning to my home in America, but this person being out for more than a year now has to get approved by the embassy to come back as a returning resident. And they're gonna have to prove that, they had lived in the US for some point, they had a domicile here, went to Jamaica on a temporary basis and ended up, the reverse overstay. You ended up overstaying more than a year in Jamaica, and now you want to come back to your home in the U.S.
All right.
So they may be in a no-win situation.
Okay, thank you, Miss Dahlia. Here's another one for you. Good afternoon. My husband was an LPR living in the USA for 4+ years. He filed for me and 2 minor children in 2019. However, he died in October 2022. Can this filing continue? I received a message from NVC in October to resubmit 2021 1040 tax paper. All other documents were accepted. Age of children when filed for 13 and 17.
Well, one of the first things that she needs to do is to advise that the husband has died. So because he wasn't a U.S. citizen at the time, we can't convert this to a widow's petition. So she would have to try to do that humanitarian reinstatement that we talked about. So this becomes very complicated. If he was a U.S. citizen, then we would say without hesitation, okay, we can convert this to a widow's petition, and she could, in essence, self-petition and move forward. But because he was not a U.S. citizen now, she has a more complicated and tenuous process.
Thank you, Miss Dahlia. Let's go to another caller now. This is Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. Thanks for calling. Go ahead, Miss Dahlia is listening.
Hi, Miss Dahlia.
Yes, afternoon.
Good afternoon. In the event that someone is wrongfully deported, and you don't have the financial ability to secure a lawyer, what's your option, knowing that you have been wrongfully deported?
Oh boy, you don't have a lot of options, sir, because these cases are quite complicated. I don't know of any agencies that help persons who have been deported to investigate whether they were wrongfully deported or not. So the only option that I can say to you is that it's an uphill climb, one that you could potentially spend a lot of money, and at the end of the day, you still end up being in Jamaica. That's just the honest truth. Because the lawyer would have to get your file from immigration, from USCIS, and from ICE, and review the file, look into what your claims are, what are the legal statutes that you were deported under, and why you think you were wrongfully deported, and investigate that. And if they agree with you, then try to now open another door to try to get you back. Long process, involved, expensive, and at the end of the day, no guarantee.
Well, I'm not viewing it like that. From what I know about reading the laws there, this involves the immigration warning. And the law requires the judge to read you a proper immigration warning whenever you're making a plea. In the case you're making a plea. So
every state is different, because that is state guided, and it also depends on when you took the plea. Because it was not always the case that the judge has to ask you if you are a citizen, and to say to you, if you are not a citizen, you could be subject to deportation. That wasn't always the case. That came in maybe 10 years ago, not even sure. Time flies so much. But, so again, not only your immigration case would have to be looked at, but the state criminal case that you are claiming you were not properly warned of taking what the consequences of your taking a plea deal would be.
Exactly.
That could potentially lead to your deportation.
Yeah.
So it's a double thing you have. Double thing. You have immigration and you have state law that you're going to have to deal with in whatever state you were convicted.
Yeah. Well, so far I'm quite satisfied that the law is 100% on my side.
Mm.
Yeah, and the transcript of the proceedings shows all of that. I have all those documents where you're referring to. I got them with me. Huh?
Mm.
Yeah. So it is I and not my representative who discovered what went wrong.
Mm.
You know? Excuse me.
Yeah. So again, you would have to hire a lawyer to explore, to investigate what your claim is, and to see if the lawyer agrees that you do have an argument that can be made.
Yeah, no. I actually sent them a motion on my own, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my error was entering the motion under the wrong heading, which what I did was copied what the previous lawyers who were representing me. I copied what they were doing. So I entered a Rule 30 motion when I should have entered a motion under the immigration warning. Yeah, so that gave them a loophole. Now have documents which tell me that no, they can't do that. Yeah, they can't do that if you file it under the immigration warning.
Yeah. So it sounds like you need more than one type of lawyer, sir. It sounds like you need an appellate lawyer, criminal appellate lawyer, as well as an immigration lawyer who does criminal removals, because not all lawyers do criminal removals. So it sounds like you really need some funding, because you're gonna need 2 lawyers.
Okay. So it comes down to the funding.
Yeah, it comes back. It comes back to that. And as I said, I don't know of any. You could try Googling it to see if there's any nonprofit or immigrant rights group that might be willing to take your case. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but there are organizations out there that get funding to help immigrants, and I don't know of any off the top of my head who do this kind of work, because this is detailed work. This is not it's not filing for somebody to get a green card. It's very detailed work.
No, trust me, no. I've done all the work. Yeah, I have everything written out, and everything is.
But no lawyer is going to just take that, sir. And no lawyer, no matter how much work you do, the lawyer is going to have to go and do the work and prove it for themselves. They're not going to just take what you've presented to them. So while you've done some legwork and you can have a conversation with the attorney, they're not going to take what you've done for face value. They're not. They're going to have to do their own work and test and retest the hypothesis. Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to have to look at what I'm presenting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. This is what. Yeah, because I've been through it, so I know what it is. Yeah, I've been through it, so I represent this to them, which I've already presented to the court, as I tell you. The court said, yes, they see what I'm saying. Yeah, but they say that only further justice due to me will be if I can prove a miscarriage of justice. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
Well, we wish you all the best
indeed
in that pursuit. Thank you for the call, and please feel free to call us back to update us.
Again, Mr. Malcolm.
I'm saying please feel free to call us back to update us on how things would have unfolded. But we have to take.
You'd like an update?
Yes, whenever that time comes.
Okay. I will. You know, so the best way is to get you the update is when I come to the office there, or
no, just call the same numbers we've been giving out.
Huh? Oh, You just call the phone here?
Yes, just as how you called to get us in the first place.
Okay, all right then.
All right, thanks for the call. All the best. Bye-bye. This one says, good afternoon. A person leave Jamaica, join the army. Can they file for her? I see they have the head of a woman here. Can they file for her? And how soon? And if so, can they get a green card?
All right, I don't understand that.
Let me slow it down again. Good afternoon. A person leave Jamaica, join the army. Can they file for, and there's a head of a female, and how soon?
But we don't know who she is.
Well, that is it.
And what's the person's status?
Right.
You know, who is who is the
So you
person
need more
there?
information.
Yeah, a lot more information.
Okay, let's move on. This one says, good day, and asking about the visa for spouse. Does it help a spouse to join her spouse sooner than, oh gosh. And then there's another message right behind that. Worked in Guantanamo Bay for the US government for over 18 years, applied for my SIV and was given a response that they received it. I was awaiting my second letter to proceed, only to hear that you have to work 29 what? You have to. Yeah, it's a little disjointed.
Yeah, do understand. I would really recommend that the person send us back another message with clear outline of what it is they're asking for.
Yes, in fact.
I would even venture that.
Right. Well, it's we're there. It's that time again when we have to wrap. But I noticed Steve had said, he said he would have called back, but he seems to have a U.S. related question. Quickly, under the previous NAFTA program, some Canadian professionals were allowed to work in the U.S. without a lot of immigration challenges. Is this still allowed under this current NAFTA agreement?
Well, it depends on what you are. There are certain TN visas that allow citizens from Canada and Mexico to work in the U.S. So that's a very broad question.
Sorry, Miss Delia, can you just hang on just one moment? Let's just take this time signal, please.
At Wellington Dental, they offer cleaning, filling, whitening, and other services for the entire family. The time by Wellington Dental is
4 o'clock. Thank you so much for staying with us on your legal corner. Just going over a bit, sorry to be trespassing on your time, Ms. Delia, but just to take the question, to complete your response to the question from Steve in Toronto, Canada, and also
professionals to come and work in the U.S., but you have to have a pre-arranged thing with a U.S. employer. So you don't just present yourself. You have to be coming to work for a U.S. employer, and it's supposed to be certain specific professions, and you come in outside of the other ways that that persons come on employment-based visas. So you still need a lot more information on that. But the TN visa is still there. It's still very much alive.
Right.
Still very much alive.
And there's some clarification. Sorry, go ahead. You finish.
No, I said there is such a thing for persons if you're citizens of Canada or Mexico.
Got you. And there's clarification from the person who sent us the message that says, a person leave Jamaica, join the army. Can she file for her mother? And how soon? And if so, can they get a green card?
Okay, so if you're a U.S. citizen, you have to be a U.S. citizen to file for your parent. And they usually process persons who are in the military, they usually process them pretty quickly. They're family members.
Okay.
Right? And those family members are immediate relatives, which means that the paperwork gets processed as soon as possible. But again, because of backlog, it takes a little longer. But nonetheless, if you're the parent of an American citizen, you can most certainly almost jump the line if you're military, if your petitioner is military.
Okay. Now we know. Thank you so much, Miss Dahlia. And before we go, let's remind our listeners and viewers all over the world how they can get in touch with or get more information about the services offered by your law firm.
Sure. You can reach me in the US. It's 954-963-8555, 954-963-8555. And we practice immigration law anywhere in the United States and family law in the state of Florida. If you in Jamaica and you want to call to schedule a consultation, it's 876-969-9666, 969-9666, or 925-0949.
Thanks a lot, Miss Dahlia. Always a pleasure.
Thank you too. All right, be good.
You too.
Have a great week.
Same to you.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. And that's it for this week's edition of Your Legal Corner with U.S. Immigration Attorney Dahlia Walker Huntington. Join us again next week, 3:30 to 4 in the afternoon for another episode of Your Legal Corner. Till then, thanks for making it Power 106 FM. And let's continue with more in just a moment.
You've just listened to Your Legal Corner, your source of information for all matters regarding U.S. immigration. Join us next Thursday at 3:30 p.m. for Your Legal Corner during both sides of the story, right here on Power 106 FM. Dr. Jackie Campbell is on call this and every Wednesday evening at 8 with Powering Your Health. Powering Your Health is Power 106 FM's flagship program dedicated to health and wellness. Your one-stop place to power a healthy lifestyle. How can we help you to power your health? You can reach the show anytime by calling 876-922-41125 or by sending a text or WhatsApp message to 876-279-8598. Brought to you by Benson Pharmacy and Wellington Dental. That's Powering Your Health. Powerful health and wellness discussion and interaction. This and every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Only on Power 106 FM.
Under the law. Know your rights and how the laws of Jamaica can help you defend those rights. Under the law.
Brought to you today by the Office of the Children's Advocate, protecting the rights and best interests of all children.
Hi, I'm Shaggy. It pains my heart to listen to news and hear all the big man them, and even the woman them, trampling on the rights of our children to a life free from fear and violence. We cannot continue to shoot children, neglect them or turn them into girlfriends, boyfriends, or baby mother. Not right. Allow our children to feel protected and safe. Everybody under the age of 18 is a child. Parents and guardians, I want you to watch over your children and to listen to them.
This message was brought to you by the Office of the Children's Advocate.
What is happening to us? Us? You? Me? Well, I know I need a husband. I'm serious, Jenny. I'm worried about us as a people.
Hello, good afternoon.
Okay. It's as if a war is raging against the children in this country. Oh.
I know.
You're on that subject again, Nikki? Every day is something else. When pastors not molesting teenage girls, grown men abusing 6-year-olds, children fighting each other in the classroom. It's a miserable life for children in Jamaica. It's cause for concern, yes? But there's no point carrying on about it all the time. Then it doesn't worry you? Of course it does. But there is a saving grace, Nikki. And that is? The Office of the Children's Advocate. Always vigilant, always on the case. Can they solve the problems on their own, though, Jenny? The office was established to protect the rights of children. And thankfully, they've been doing the work. They deserve a high passing grade. Based on recent events, it is clear that the Children's Advocate wields a lot of power. To be fair, I never knew they were so powerful that they could bring pressure to bear on other government agencies or their representatives. The police,
schools, anybody who interacts with children if they fall out of line.
What you're trying to tell me? That although there are other agencies that have major responsibilities to protect the rights of our children from abuses and any manner of wrongs, they are all accountable to the children's advocate?
That's exactly how it is, my dear. The Child Care and Protection Act says it. For the purpose of protecting and enforcing the rights of children, there is hereby established a Commission of Parliament which shall be known as the Children's Advocate. That's how it is under the law.
Brought to you today by the Office of the Children's Advocate, protecting the rights and best interests of all children.
Join us Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:45 and 8:55 a.m. and at 4 and 9:55 p.m. on Palo 106 FM for Under the Law.
You can always call the office. They will advise you.
Dear Mr. Jesus, I just had to write to you.
You too.
Something really scared me when I saw it on the news. A story about a little girl beaten black and blue. Jesus, thought I'd take this right to you.
¿Qué hora es en español? Son las 4:10. Quelle heure est-il en français? Les 4:10. 现在几点了？4点10分. 10 minutes past 4 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House, 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Have you had a checkup lately? If not, now is a good time. Let's not wait till we get sick to get a checkup. How about that? Checking in with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Let's go to this message. Good day, Dervan. I hope all is well with you. I love the public advocacy by many of your texters and callers over the many years I've been listening to this station. Your callers and texters demand answers for numerous cases of corruption, or they demand urgency from the authorities to provide the names of people caught in alleged drug runnings and corruption. I love the advocacy, but what I find interesting, the moment these texters and callers find out that the people who are named are affiliated to their party, they get silent. There's no more public advocacy in such cases. I'm urging them to stop being a hypocrite and call a spade a spade. These people have no credibility. People involved in corruption and drug running are not party specific. We therefore need to be more consistent in our utterances. Thank you very much for your message. GBO, thank you. Here's another one. Sir D, good day. We, the citizens of this country, are willing to conform with the laws of the land. But I would like to know if the Prime Minister is above the law, because for 2 years now he has not turned in his returns to the NIA. Is it not within for him to do so each year? So do you think he has the moral authority to speak to us, the citizens of this country, when he's showing no regard for the law of the land? This is from Anthony in Mobay. There is a message, another message along those lines that came in earlier as well. We're going to read that one now. Greetings. It's almost time for the integrity filings of parliamentarians to be filed for the year ending December 31st, 2022. Yet, the Prime Minister's filings for 2021 are still to be cleared and published. I wonder what would have happened had it been a common civil servant to whom much has been given. Of him, much more is to be expected. From Crocs in Black River. Thank you very much for your message, Crocs in Black River, which, as we said, is similar to the one from GBO a short while ago. Well, we've always said it on this program. There is only one way to lead, and that is by example. Full stop. There's only one way to lead, and that is by example. Over to the leaders. Continuing now with more of the messages. We read this one already from Michael. Let's go through and clear some of the others. Let's see who is here. We read Steve's message. Pauline Morris, good afternoon to you. Gaveth Peterson, good to have you on board. Sharon Richards says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm, and all listeners listening out there. I greet you all well on this Thursday afternoon. One love.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:15.
Have you done your homework yet? If not, now is a good time. Good afternoon to all the schoolers listening to us, all the students from the early childhood level to the secondary level. Trust you had a productive day of learning today. Hope you also managed to get in some physical activity, just as important as mental activity. As we always say, young people, socialization makes you educable. Education makes you trainable. Training makes you employable, and the right attitude makes you successful. Homework time, young people. Continuing with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Gleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Hello to the members of the Jamaican American Association of Central Florida. Good afternoon to you, the Jamaican American Association of Central Florida. Good to have you on board Both Sides of the Story here on Power 106 FM. Gaveth Peterson, good afternoon to you too. Nan Hines in St. Thomas is tuned in. Pauline Morris is still watching. Nikki Holness, good afternoon to you. And going up the line, Steve in Toronto, Canada says, you actually need the long form birth certificate for real estate sales too. And Velta Wilson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm and listeners. Good afternoon, Velta Wilson in St. Thomas. And Joan Richardson. Hello, Miss Joan. How are you? Good to see you online. How's your husband, Willard? Your daughter, Roxy? Your granddaughter, Amira? Hope you're all doing well. And the wider Jamaican Bermudian population in the land of approximately 60 to 65,000 people. Andrea Peart, how are you? Good afternoon. Marisa McPherson, we see you. Thank you very much for joining us as well. Here's a call coming from New York, and we say New York based on the area code 718. Hello, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Dervan, good afternoon, man.
Good afternoon.
How you doing? Actually, I was just trying to get you on the other line, but for some reason I'm not getting through, and I decided to call the WhatsApp page. Let me just validate what Portmore was saying there.
Yes.
I came to Jamaica last year, and I saw soldiers out by Witter Village. You know Witter Village, right? In Montego Bay?
Yes.
These guys were picking up women.
Oh,
and I was like... I was like, where is the commander? I mean, these guys, they were like, and they have long guns, you know, they have the long guns with them. And they were trying to pick up girls.
Yeah, it's a problem. It's a matter of self-control or lack thereof, because you may recall as well, was it the Secret Service in Mexico?
Yeah, yes. And I think in Brazil, I think in what do you call it? I think in not Brazil, the other one, Colombia. I think Colombia.
Yeah. But the point we're making is that it really boils down to the individual and the individual's capacity or incapacity to restrain himself or herself, as the case may be. That's a big problem, and part of it too is the extent of the vetting process, because you talk about Secret Service where these men and women have to, rain or shine, snow or sleet, whatever the conditions, they have to play their part in protecting whoever they need to protect. Right? So they're supposed to be of a certain quality, of a certain caliber. And the moment it is discovered that they have failed the test, that they are none of the above, then the quicker you can get them to exit the organization, the better. And it's no less for the soldiers here in Jamaica that you're referencing, based on what you saw at Witter Village in Montego Bay.
So I don't, by the way, I see the same thing in police at the Montego Bay airport, police in uniform. So, yeah, I mean, what the CIA did, I mean, was bad. The Secret Service did was bad, and I think it was in Colombia. But I'm not sure they were in uniform, but when you're in uniform in public, man, you got to display a certain, what do you call it, certain standard.
Yeah.
And when you do that in public, in broad daylight, you know, I mean, these gentlemen were literally trying to get this woman to talk to this woman, and they have
just back up a bit. You used that term a while ago. I don't think you meant to use it. You said these gentlemen.
Yeah, I always thought it was, for what reason, I don't know, I always give the benefit of the doubt, you know.
Because a gentleman is actually a cultured individual. The word gentle there doesn't mean soft. It means, it makes reference to a cultured individual. An individual who knows how to behave. Sorry, go ahead.
Right, that's okay. And these very young, you know, they're young men, you know, young, I call them men because they could probably be my son. And, you know, they're in uniform in public and behaving that way. One at the airport was trying to pick up this woman right here at the Sanctuary International Airport, trying to pick up this woman. Basically not doing his job, just trying to pick up a woman right there. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's called distraction. Distraction. And that distraction invariably can lead to destruction.
Yeah, so when people see that, Dervan, they don't really respect the force. That's the problem, you know. So that's they have to keep it in mind.
Well, this is what we're saying. Once you identify them with that kind of behavior, get them out. Let them go somewhere else.
I agree. Or retrain them if you can retrain them or whatever. But
good luck on that one. Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. So I'm looking at the Road Traffic Act. And why I tell you, it's gonna need a lawyer. The police they have a work on their hand, boy, because a lot of stuff in there.
Yeah,
and a lot of stuff that.
Sorry, go ahead.
And a lot of stuff that is not straightforward. I think the provision they're talking about, I think I heard your previous host here, Raskill, was saying that I think, I haven't looked at that part yet. I think that part is if you are, if someone has a permit and you're in the car supposed to be as an instructor, in other words, we have a permit, a licensed driver supposed to be in the car with you. If you drive in that car as a drunk person, I think you'll get charged as a drunken driver. I think that's what that applied to. I don't think necessarily you're carrying, if you're a licensed driver and carrying someone in your car home and you have a license, I don't think you get charged. But you know, one thing I could say, Dervan, is this. I think it all mean well, but when you're writing these laws, and when a politician writing these laws, just keep in mind that Jamaica, you know, is not a first world country yet. There are a lot of people struggling to even get the necessary things, you know, to go by day to day. A lot of people want to do the right thing, especially with the child seat. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think every parent should have a child seat. I hope that what I think that we can do over here, I was thinking that from now on I'm going to start to collect child seats, that you use child seats, clean them up. Because, you know, once you have a child and you don't need a child seat no more time, you throw them out or you put them into a basement or whatever it is. So I was thinking that, you know, if we over here can collect these child seats and donate them back to Jamaica, I think that would be a good thing. So that every mother, every parent, I should say, have some from a child seat, so when they go into their car or go into other car, they can use them. Because if that car crashes with a child, you know what can happen. It can be very devastated. Mm-hmm. So that's my take on that part. But I think when we're writing these laws, we have to keep in mind that, you know, and I hope the police can, for the first couple of months or even a whole year, I think the police need to issue warning for a lot of these things that people don't know, you know?
Well, this is it. And you're touching on the point now I wanted to comment on, and that is we keep repeating the same mistakes. We have seen already in this country, as we said yesterday, the mishandling of the ganja legislation. That was totally mismanaged. It wasn't properly, the public awareness was lacking, public education, whatever fora, plural for forum, that needed to have been organized and so on. None of that was done. Or if at all, it must have been very, very little. And we have come into the situation now where this Road Traffic Act, which took a while to, you know, go through the system to get to this stage right now, but lacking again the public awareness, the public education. And usually you have a period of public education and public engagement for a smooth transition. That hasn't happened. So people are going to be surprised when they get a ticket for talking on the cell phone while driving, because I don't think a lot of people realize that that is in force as well, among other things. So we have failed again with another piece of legislation, with an act of parliament. Here we are again, and public education lacking.
Because, Dervan, think about it. Like your station, they did bombarding your station, all the station radio in Jamaica with this thing for months before this thing is enacted. So everybody understand new law is out. These are the news. You don't have to give them everything one time. But these are some of the key points in these laws. So let people aware of it before it even went into law.
Yes.
So that's a law. We always, for some reason, even with the ticket that people owed. Like, for good gracious, Dervan, I don't know if it have what harm it have caused. Give people some more time. Let them know that, I know people have gotten time before, but say, listen, the new law coming in effect. We're gonna give you up to 3 months, 4 months, I don't know. I'll say 6 months. We run special, for example, we run a month special where if you have tickets, you're gonna get them basically no interest, you could take off the interest and take off the penalties and let people go in that month. You give them a certain amount of slot time in each parish, to let them clean up these tickets. And if, you say, listen, the last minute come, and you don't clean them up, you're not gonna come and crowd the courts, you're not gonna come and crowd these places, the tax offices. That's it. We give you enough time, you advertise it. Because communication, Dervan, is a very, very important thing when it comes to managing these things. You've got to communicate. You've got to communicate with the people. And that's one thing I think we're lacking, communication. I want to make one more point before I go here. I know, this time. A lot of times when, by the way, I wanted to comment yesterday on the phone hung up and they tried to get from that guy in Memphis, right? Tragically, these things still happening. Police are still police. They do things, in my opinion, sometimes out of egregious reason or whatever, I don't know, or out of rage, whatever. One thing I was shocked into, Dervan, is the level of crime in Memphis. I was shocked. In Memphis, homicide rate is like Jamaica.
Memphis, Tennessee?
Yeah, the homicide rate there in 2021 was equal to what Jamaica is, a little higher.
What's the population?
Got murdered.
What's the population in Memphis, Tennessee?
600 and some thousand.
Okay.
And they got, in 2021, they got 346,000 persons homicide. The homicide rate was 346. That worked out to like 55 per 100,000.
Hold a moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:30.
Do you know where your children are? Are they where they're supposed to be? Doing what they're supposed to be doing? It's a good time to check up on the children. A good time for us to continue with more on your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM. Thanks for holding.
Yeah, Dervan. So I was very shocked to look at the numbers in Memphis. I was literally shocked. One thing I hear people always saying, when they talk about United States, they look at a station, say in Florida, I don't know, in South Florida, so it could be Memphis in this case, or Philadelphia. And I said, oh my God, all this killing going on. And I mean, I never watch a Memphis TV station, but if I watch it, I'll probably say the same thing. The United States is a very large country. I mean, you can't watch one TV station and see what's going on in one city and say that's America. It just doesn't, that's not the way it works. New York, for example, New York homicide rate last year was, for every 100,000 person, it was 5. So New York, I think the national average is 7. And New York was 5 last year. Like,
seven per 100,000?
Yes, in the US nationally, 7 to 200,000. In Jamaica, is approaching about 55 in the same range like Memphis, which is alarming. So again, I just wanted to say to people that it's sad to know that Memphis is a majority black community, and that murder rate is just alarming. And I don't, again, it didn't give the police any justification to do what they did. But just to see that, and nobody's saying anything about it, by the way. Nobody's talking about it. That's the problem here. Also, a lot of these politicians like to put stuff underneath the rug. They don't like to talk about things that, shame them. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yes, it's pretty standard. You play up what makes you look good, and you play down what makes you look bad.
Absolutely, and again, I want people to understand. I'm not saying to give the police no rights to what they did. I mean, what they did, it was totally unnecessary, totally wrong. But what needs to be spoken about more or less likely is the kind of murder rate that they have in a developed country. And by the way, I spoke to your host here, Dr. Gale, about it. Guys, always, I know he's not saying that's the only reason that people do crime is because of poverty, but I posed it to him. I said, Dr. Gale, these people, they get a lot of opportunity at Dervan. Free schooling up to high school. If you're poor, you can go to college for free. You can go to trade school. They get housing. They get a lot of social benefit. Why do these people get themselves into this problem, Dervan?
It runs deep. It takes a lot of unpacking. One would have to do a lot of unpacking to try and come to some reasonable position on why would those who apparently have it better than so many still go down that road.
What I think, before I go here quickly, what I think I observed over the years from living here in New York is that when you let people get away with things over a period of time, it festers into a situation where it becomes uncontrollable. So I think when you have a country, and I probably seen things going on in Haiti, by the way, over the years, you let these people get away with more and more, okay? To the point where it's out of control. I remember they start sprinkling these drugs in the street, they start doing all kind of stuff, and it led to a situation where it's out of control. So all I can say, I think law and order, you have to let people understand the law is for them. The law is also for them. I have to understand if you break the law, there are consequences. The bad driving, people just walk and throw stuff in the way they feel like doing it. All these things to me fester into bigger crimes, and I think we have to start to prosecute people, let them understand, get them a ticket, let them do community service, let them understand you're not just going to do and get away with it, because that's what we're going to get when we get away with it. We get a society that there's no law and order.
Yeah. In the meantime, those of us who know better should just continue to do better, with a hope of, in a good way, infecting others to come on board and make the kind of impact on this country that we can all be proud of.
Come on, Dervan, and why I tell you the truth, young people should stay away from these drugs. Even marijuana, Dervan, people understand, let's be clear here. I keep saying I'm gonna go soon. Even marijuana, at a certain age, it affects the brain, Dervan. And young people understand what these things do to them. We should let our young people stay away from these drugs. And even I see young people start drinking now from early. Young guys, young man, I drink from that like day. What do you think
Yes, I was on the beach. I was on the beach in a certain part of Jamaica over the weekend, and saw it. It was right before my very eyes. A lot of females seemed to be smoking as well. I did see a little boy. Like, I still think, to me, he looked like a little boy. A little boy, he was drinking alcohol and he was smoking ganja.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, girlfriend, I said, a young man, my community lived close to where I'm at. Saw him one morning. I was driving down the road. I saw him coming up. So he stopped and said, can I give you my money? I said, you're working? He said, no, you're looking for work. So one hand was the ganja and one hand was the alcohol.
That's right.
So I said to him, excuse me, if you start doing this early in the morning, how are you going to work for this? Who's going to hire you? How are you going to work again? And he looked at me, really good. And I said to him, listen, don't let me see you do this again. You're a young man, okay? First of all, if you're going to even smoke a little thing and drink a little thing, wait until like evening in the morning. You start this at early morning. How are you going to work? How old are you? What are you going to learn? What are you going to do? And he said, sorry, I walked away. I give him, I think I still gave him a little change to him to go buy something because like him hungry too. But like, take the money, instead of take the money to buy something to eat, you take it by rum and weed.
Mm-hmm.
But Dervan, thanks for talking, listen to me. But we need to government. See, when we make laws, as I said with the marijuana law, the government needs to educate and put some tax on it, right? Make if it's going to be legal, I don't do nothing against that. Tax it in a way and use the money to educate these kids in school the danger of these things.
Yeah, well, there is that. There is that. In fact, I know, because I've been in the environment, so I know that there are presenters, speakers who have visited schools and have demonstrated to the students some of the pitfalls that they need to be aware of, and some of the forms of addiction that are out there, etc. We have seen that. So it's not that it's non-existent. There is that kind of education that is being inculcated in our students.
One other thing to Dervan quickly, adults, clean. When you see these people, talk to them. Don't be afraid of them. Don't curse them. You have to rough them up. Call them to the side and talk to them. Sometimes if you talk to them, you'll be surprised what difference you make, Dervan. You'll be surprised. Just talk to them as an adult. Don't be scared of them. Don't scorn them neither. Don't think that these people are going to kill you. A lot of times just speak to them. And a lot of times you will surprise with the result you'll get.
Indeed.
Take care, Dervan.
Thank you. Thank you for the call. All the best. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. This is your program, Both Sides of the Story, Power 106 FM, still streaming live on the Cleaners website, go-jamaica.com. Hello to Faye Weller. Good afternoon to you. Thanks for tuning in. Good to have you on board, Faye Weller. Joan Richardson in Bermuda says, good day, Sir D. We are all doing well. Such sad news out of Hanover. Condolence to the entire family, school, and friends of little Jojo. May her soul rest in peace. We join you in conveying similar sentiments, Lady Joan in Bermuda. Inez Iona Campbell in Bridgeport, Connecticut, or as they say in America, Connecticut. She says, good afternoon, Mr. Dervan and viewers. Happy Black History and Reggae Month. Knowledge is power. Please use it, my people, she says. Thank you very much. Let's go over to YouTube. I beg your pardon. Let's go over to WhatsApp and see what's up. Miss Pearl says, sir, I really wonder if Jamaicans are listening to you. I heard you loud and clear. Only one way to lead is to lead by example, doing the right thing. Bless you, sir. Thank you, Miss Pearl. All the best. This one from Eureka. Good day. Good day, Mr. Malcolm. Are you aware that most of the laws were already in effect? Of course we know that. But there have been amendments and additions. Yes. The law relating to talking on the cell phone while driving was in effect before the new Road Traffic Act, the new road traffic law. Well, if it was in effect, it was never enforced. Never enforced. So I don't remember it being in full effect. Absolutely not. I think most of what's new is enforcement, says Eureka. And this one says, teacher, bountiful blessings. A caller wanted to know why he can't hear from God like Miss Mervis. He is hearing from God. He's not listening. I was given a spiritual graph before the IMF spoke about the possibility of a recession. You must have the spirit of discernment. It did surprise me. Jehovah is protecting Jamaica. And this is from Geneva. Thank you, Geneva, for your message. Here's a follow-up message from Crocs in Black River. How about a law against having an opened bottle of alcoholic beverage in a vehicle while driving? That would make more sense than most of the others. From Crocs in Black River. I think that is the law. I don't want to speak out of turn, but that I think the period they used to refer to is what they call it prohibition. They were very strict when it came to alcohol consumption in the United States. So if you Google prohibition, you would learn more, read more about that period in American history and how it has helped to shape the laws in relation to the consumption of alcohol, etc., etc. Yeah. Thank you for your message, Crocs in Black River, and all the very best. And Lady Joan in Bermuda, she has sent us quite a charming picture here, and she says, Sir D. Mira is on this voyage on the Spitit, a tall ship operated by a local charity. She's wearing a white jacket. I see. Well, congratulations to Amira. I almost didn't recognize her. But I'm not seeing anyone in this picture in a white jacket. She's wearing a white, what looks like a white shirt or blouse. But anyway, happy to know that she is continuing. I know you did share with us her apparent love for the sea and for the vessels at sea and so on and so forth. We wish her well. Thank you for sharing, Lady Joan in Bermuda. Happy New Year, says Kirk MD. Mr. Dervan Malcolm, is it still a cold case of the rape of that little girl in 2006, 2007 by Crossroads area? I think a stranger had given her patty and then lured her away. I'm sorry, I don't remember that particular case, but if you could share a bit more information, and let's see if we can do a quick check on that. Well, thank you for the message. One moment, please.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now
4:45. Both sides of the story. Do you have a title for your land? Are you thinking about buying or selling land? How much is your property worth? Tune into Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm on Power 106 FM every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. for The NLA and You, a program that examines the National Land Agency's role in building an efficient and transparent land titling system for Jamaicans. That's The NLA and You on Both Sides of the Story with Dervan Malcolm every last Tuesday at 3:30 p.m. The National Land Agency. One agency, one goal, committed to serve you better.
Minutes to 5 o'clock in the afternoon here at Broadcast House 32 Lyndhurst Road, Kingston 5, St. Andrew, Jamaica. Good afternoon to all working Jamaicans tuned into both sides of the story here on Power 106 FM it's a good time for us to ask ourselves, how productive have we been today? How productive have we been today? Let's continue by clearing some of these YouTube messages. In fact, we haven't been clearing these YouTube messages as quickly as we should. Courtney Thompson says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. Commending the government of Jamaica on the passing of the new Road Traffic Act. Was on the road today and didn't hear the loud yang motorbikes and didn't see the riders and saw riders in helmet or wearing helmets. Thank you for sharing, Courtney Thompson. Curtis Smith says, for the best tasting food, check us Taste for Life restaurant. I hear nice, says Curtis Smith. Evie Boss Lady says, good afternoon, Mr. Malcolm. I am tuned in from Bridgeport, Connecticut. Just a note to wish a pleasant good afternoon to you and your listeners locally and internationally. Thank you, Evie Boss Lady. Cherry Henry, good afternoon to you too. Sean Chambers says, good afternoon, Uncle Dervan and your listeners. To you too, Sean Chambers. Fimi Style Hair Accessories says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, Fimi Style Hair Accessories. Welcome. Howard Foster says, UIC Jamaica will bring laws and discipline to the army and society. UIC Jamaica is the third largest political movement in Jamaica. Please join, share, and support UIC Jamaica, says Howard Foster. Patrick Howell is testing our French right now. He's typing in French. Les Français manifestent massivement à la suite de l'augmentation de l'âge de la retraite par le gouvernement. Je crois qu'il devrait retirer Lucian Jones qui a fait un mauvais travail. Patrick Howell doesn't think that those involved in road safety work are performing the way he would have wanted them to perform, and he has singled out Dr. Lucian Jones. Damned if you do, damned if you don't, I guess. There are those who would be able to tell you how much they appreciate his service to this country. But then, as we just read in this message, there are others who don't think, who are not impressed. Let's put it at that. But for what it's worth, the gentleman has served and continues to serve, and we thank him for his service to Jamaica. Patrick Howell says, je vous enverrai une vidéo que j'ai réalisée sur le pont de Troyes. He says he's going to be sending us a video that he created, that he made about the bridge, the Troy Bridge. Veuillez utiliser votre programme pour aider à le réparer. And he's hoping that we will be able to use this video, share the information on the program in order to help the repair of or to facilitate or to encourage the repair of the Troy Bridge. Merci beaucoup, Patrick Howell. Thank you very much for your messages. And we have more. GBO says, good day, Dervan. I hope all is well with you. I love the public advocacy by many. Didn't I read this already? Yes, man. Yeah, I read your message already, GBO. Sorry you missed it. This one says, or is this? I think this is the bridge. Yeah, this is the one that what's his name? This is the one that Patrick Howell sent. So he says, well, he addresses it to Simon, Dion Jackson Miller, and yours truly. Others, please see video of the Troy Bridge, Trelawney. This bridge was destroyed, and by the way, by way of disclosure, My father is from Troy in Trelawney. Anyway, he says, this bridge was destroyed. And again, this is, what's his name? This is Patrick Howell speaking. So he says, this bridge was destroyed over 2 years and is urgently in need of construction. This bridge links the North Coast and southern Manchester to St. Elizabeth and southern Jamaica. The school population of Troy High has been reduced as a result of the downing of the bridge. Please use your program to assist in its construction. Patrick Socks Howell. Thanks. All right, thanks for sharing, Patrick. We will follow up. We will follow up. Thank you. RM in Toronto, Canada says, Sir D, I don't understand this guy speaking from New York for the past half hour. The government should give the lawbreakers more time to pay their tickets, but he did not mention the past 4 years that they were sitting on those tickets with no intention to pay for those tickets. Some of these rules have been in place for years, but no enforcement. So people driving do not know the laws of the road. Then he says, if you let people get away with things, it causes a breakdown of law and order. Which one does he want? Well done on your efforts, Mr. Holness. Keep on trying to make changes. How quickly we have forgotten the over 400 murders on our roads. Well, not murders, but deaths on our roads in 2022. This is from RM in Toronto. Thank you for your message, RM in Toronto. And Miss Pearl Brown says, Sir D, I went to look for my cousin in New Jersey. I was about 26 years old. I really did not look my age. So he sent me to buy beer at a liquor store. The owner said to me, very loud and ignorant, I have a good mind, call the police. I told him my age because I was arguing with him. Went for the phone. I ran so fast, it wasn't funny. Thanks for sharing your story. And Lady Joan in Bermuda says thanks. We did say well done to Amira. Look, you should see her, little girl, steering a ship. Well done. Thanks. Can you imagine our household 5 days without Amira? What a great life lesson for those 18 young ladies. Right. Thanks for sharing, Miss Joan. GBO says, I believe I met your dad some time ago in Vineyard. Did you mean Vineyard Town? I see you have Vineyard time. He abandoned Trelawney, says GBO. Thank you very much for your message. Cuban in Georgia says, good afternoon, Sir Malcolm. The roads from Boston to Drapers are in need of urgent attention, and calling on the members of Parliament, Mrs. Vaz, to come out and deal with the concerns of Eastern Portland, says Cuban in Georgia. Thank you very much. It comes with the territory. If you take up public service, you're expected to do just that. Serve. Serve. Yes, I figured you meant, where is it? GBO? Yeah, Vineyard Town. Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your message. Can we thank you once again for the privilege of serving you on yet another edition of your program, Both Sides of the Story, for today, Thursday, the 2nd of February, 2023. The moving finger writes, and having writ moves on, nor all your piety nor wit shall lure it back to cancel half a line, nor all your tears wash out a word of it. All things being well, Both Sides of the Story returns tomorrow afternoon, 2 to 5. Till then, this is Dervan Malcolm, reminding all of us that every day is an opportunity to do better than yesterday. Take care.
Dear Mr. Jesus, I don't that they don't mean to hit with loud and angry hands. Tell them just how big they are, I pray. Please don't let them hurt your children. We need love and shelter from the storm. Please don't let them hurt your children. Won't you keep us safe and warm? Dear Mr. Jesus, they say that she may die. Oh, I hope the doctors stop the pain. Know that you could save her and take her up to the sky, so she would never have to hurt again. Please don't let them hurt your children. We need love and shelter from the storm. Please don't let them hurt your children. Won't you keep us safe and warm? Dear Mr. Jesus, please tell me what to do. And please don't tell my daddy that my mommy hits me too. Please don't let them hurt your children. We need love and shelter from the storm. Please don't let them hurt your children. Won't you keep us safe? Please don't let them hurt your children. We need love and shelter from the storm. Please don't let them hurt your children. Won't you keep us safe and warm?
Bye.
You're listening to Power 106 FM. The time is now